All right. Good morning, everyone. So as we get started with this week's currency call, currency analysis, we'll be going through the Aussie dollar, the Kiwi dollar, a bit of a review of the US CAD, together with the dollar index as well. So before we get started, I'm going to keep this a bit short and sharp. Let's look at first the disclaimer. Any information shared in this video is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and the views of me, the speaker. So please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. So jumping straight into the market analysis, jump into the news there. Looking at Forex Factory today being Monday, we do have Fed. We have nothing much for the afternoon. Well, we had nothing much in the morning. We have nothing much for the afternoon. We at 3:30 GMT plus 8. We do have ECB President Lagarde speaking. And this is due to speak at the Institut Montaigne in Paris. Possibly not going to move prices too much at this point. But pay attention to this on Monday night, 10 p.m. GMT plus 8, Fed Chair Powell speaking. This is going to be quite important because it is speaking about the economic outlook at the National Association for Business Economics Annual Economic Policy Conference. So I think getting an insight from Powell speaking about the economic outlook will be quite interesting. We possibly might see some price movements there. I'll tell you what I think is going to happen for the dollar shortly. Later into the week, you can see for this week, I think the focus should shift towards the pound, because on Tuesday, not a lot of news happening again. But on Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m. GMT plus 8, we have the pound CPI number year on year looking to go from a 5.5 to a 6%. Just nice. We will tell you more about that, about the pound dollar analysis on Wednesday as well. So inflation number looking to climb from 5.5 to a 6% there, with Governor Bailey speaking at 8 p.m. Also, Fed Chair Powell speaking at 8 p.m. Again, virtual panel discussion for the emerging challenges for central bank governors in a digital world. So I think some talk about digital currencies might come into play there, which I think, with the two with the two central bankers speaking, we might see some movement on the currency for the pound and also for the dollar there, together with the annual budget release for the UK. And then on Thursday, we have the Swiss rates being released. No change there expected, but they do tend to surprise the markets a little bit. So pay attention to that on Thursday with the Swiss franc, and then the Euro PMI numbers to be released through the day on Thursday. And then on Friday, not a lot of news happening from that point. So I think that this week we are likely to see a little bit of a more trending scenario. We might see the dollar, it'll be a bit more based on the dollar strength or weakness. I'll tell you more about that shortly. And then into next week. The main thing for this week is still the conflict between the Eurozone between the Russia and Ukraine borders. A lot of uncertainty there at this point. So doing a quick recap on Friday. Hang on. On Friday, where is it? On Friday, we did have the CAD retail sales number, very good number, was a -2%, slightly revised. Expected a 2.4, came out at a 3.2, very good number for the CAD retail sales number. Core retail sales went from a -2.7, expected a 2.3, came out at 2.5. Why we saw this big jump, I think headlines is that we saw this increase was led by sales at motor vehicle and parts dealerships. So all that, we saw that big jump in the retail sales number for CAD, but casting back to our analysis on CAD on Friday, we were saying that at this 1.2622 support level, only if it broke below this 1.2594, we can look for further downside, or if it broke above that 1.2645 level, we can look for that upside. It didn't do either. It sat in that range, still in this support level of 1.2622, because although we saw CAD strengthen because of the news, what we also saw was the dollar strengthening on Friday as well. So I'll show you here on dollar, casting our look into the dollar index. On Friday, we saw that dollar weaken a little bit, but then we saw that strength come back into play towards the end of the week. On the 18th, we saw that push towards that 9846 resistance level. So what to expect here for the dollar? Looking at the dollar index, I think that we have seen that base of 97.88, which was formed in the 10th of March, bouncing off from this point. Similar thing happened here on the 18th of March, where it was bouncing off this 9788 level. I think what we're looking for now is whether the dollar index, whether the dollar can gain that strength to break above that 9845 level. I think that this is quite likely, especially with the continued uncertainty in the Russia-Ukraine area, possibly with Fed Chair Powell speaking tonight, talking about the US economic outlook. We might see some push further above that 9845 level or 46 level. What I'm looking for the dollar index is for that move above, if it can break above that 9846 to break above that point, right? For it to move above this level towards that 9950. I don't think it will go all the way towards that point. I think it will probably stop at about 99 before a consolidation. I'll move this slightly lower towards 99 before a consolidation, and then possibly back up towards 9950. So what this means is, looking at this possible dollar strength coming into play, what we could look out for here on the Aussie dollar, I really like how it's sitting at this 74 level. It's quite a round number of 74 level. We saw that happen on the 7th of March. It tried to break above, it failed to break above, and then it came all the way back down, very close towards that 7165, a very big drop, bounce, and then drop again. So I'm looking for that similar move, but bear in mind, this will be a counter trend trade. It has been moving up since the 16th of March from that 7160 towards that 74, a very big move towards the upside. If you were to try and trade it down, we do need that big dollar strength come into play. The reason why we've seen Aussie dollar climb that much higher is because of, and I will switch over to this, you can see copper being one of it. We've seen over the since the 16th, that big move up from 4.48 to about 4.48 to about 4.7. So that big move towards the upside. But what you see here is that copper has started turning back down, right? So we might see that pull the Aussie dollar back down together with the dollar strength. So both ways, be very careful for the Aussie dollar. Two trades I will recommend here, or two trade opportunities I recommend here. One, a little bit more speculative for the Aussie dollar, is to sell it down, right? I would say you can be a little bit aggressive at about 7387, or safer would be 7370, below 7370. Stop loss about 55 pips. So there's quite a big stop loss, about 50 pips there. Take profit. Your first one could be at about 60. So you're still looking at a 1:1 risk reward ratio towards the downside. but I think that at this point you can go even as low as about 100 pips. So this is a counter trend trade idea for the Aussie. For it to reject that 7.4 level, be a bit safer, below 7.370, look to sell for a 100 pips move, 50 pips stop loss, a 1:2 risk reward ratio towards the downside. Alternatively, if we expect this trend to continue, then you can look for that upside towards that 7.540. But I'll be very hesitant on that, because if I did zoom out, if I went to the daily time frame, you can see that the last time it broke above was back in October 2021. Once it broke above, we can see that upside, quite a strong upside as well. But this was several months ago, about 6 months ago now. So can it climb up towards that 7.540? Yes, quite possibly, but it does need to clear above this point first, above this resistance level first. So, only look to buy the Aussie dollar, again back to the H4 time frame, only look to buy the Aussie dollar if it moves above that 7.4. I'll be a bit more conservative here. I would say above that 7.430 resistance level. If it breaks and clear above that 7.430, right, stop loss can be quite tight here at about 20 to 30 pips. Take profit, I wouldn't put your take profit at about 100 pips, or you can put your take profit at 100 pips, but be ready to close out at any point inside this area. This is a very big trade towards upside, a 1:3.5 risk reward ratio towards the upside for the Aussie dollar. But I think that at any point, if you can look to close out from that move towards the upside, you can break this trade out into maybe 2 trades for that move towards the upside. If I went to the daily time frame again, you can see that it will possibly go towards a 1:1, right, towards that 7.480 level or 7.470 level. If it breaks above that point, then we can see that big move towards the upside again. So bear in mind, the Aussie dollar quite possible to move upside. Speculatively, I can say that you can look for it to resist this level and turn down. But based on the way the dollar index has been moving, we could see either directions. Play a little bit more flexible there for the Aussie dollar on the H4 time frame. I think that we might actually see one leg down before that bounce back up towards the upside again. So in terms of what I'm looking at here for the Aussie dollar, possibly a move towards the downside, towards that 7.3, bounce back up, and then further towards 7.540. Quite a few trade ideas here for the Aussie dollar, but it all depends on what's likely to happen for the Russia-Ukraine conflict at this point. So with that said about the Aussie dollar, what could happen for the Kiwi dollar is actually a little bit more straightforward. I think that the Kiwi dollar has shown a little bit more resistance, right? We've seen it hit or come very close towards that 6932 resistance level. Same thing, but more recently on the 7th of March, it hit that level and turned back down towards that 6842 support and possibly even towards that 6740 support level. What I'll be looking for here on the Kiwi dollar H4 time frame is for this candle to close towards the downside. Crucially, it's just, and this is a shorter wait for it to close below this 69 level, same as what it did back there. If we can close below 69 at about 6895, 6896, 6895, you can look to sell the Kiwi down. All right, so I'll say about 6895 there. You can look to sell the Kiwi down Stop loss at about 30 to 40 pips. Take profit at about 50 as a first level. A almost 1:1 risk reward ratio towards the downside for the Kiwi dollar. I would say that if it does come to that support level of 6840, then you can look for it to whether it's going to break down or bounce back up. I would rank the Kiwi dollar a little bit higher than the Aussie dollar because of the way it's been moving and the recent rejection that we saw here in March compared to the Aussie dollar, where we saw that March rejection, but we do see that big trend towards the upside. I would say that, I would prefer the Kiwi dollar more than the Aussie, and also because the Aussie dollar would have to drop quite a lot more towards that 7372 support level before we see it break any lower towards that 73 support level. So quite a few trade ideas here, both the upside and the downside possibility for the Aussie dollar, Aussie dollar trade. Kiwi dollar, I would not look for it to the upside. Main reason is also because if I went to the daily time frame, the last time it broke above this point, coming from below, was a very long time ago, back in November 2020, where it broke above towards the upside. Or this, where it broke down, it's a different analysis. So back in November 2020, when it broke above, at this point, I think that a bit unlikely that it's going to break higher. I'll look for the Kiwi dollar to break towards the downside, resisting this 6930 level. With that said, any questions at this point? I think that what's going to be quite interesting for this week is actually the analysis of the Aussie dollar, for the pound dollar more. I think you're going to get more trade ideas on the pound dollar rather than the Aussie and the Kiwi, especially because of the news that we can see on Wednesday. So, short and sharp, make sure you do your analysis. Look at the Aussie dollar for either the upside end or the downside. Kiwi dollar, looking for it to reject that resistance. We're looking for further dollar strengthening on the dollar index. And then for those of you who are in the Traders Club, if you have any questions, any trade ideas, any trade analysis that you would like further analysis on or review, put it in the chat and I'll answer you there. With that, thank you for joining the live call today. We'll catch you again tomorrow for the Euro dollar analysis. Take care now. Bye-bye.